Starfield was supposed to get 10 years of support, and yet it doesn't even look like they made it past one. Starfield, for those of you that don't remember, is Bethesda's latest mainline RPG released in 2023. And to say it's been forgotten is a bit of an understatement. The Steam charts speak for themselves. It's just a fraction of Skyrim and Fallout 4's players, and those games are over a decade old. The same can be said about the modding scene on Nexus. Starfield has gotten just a fraction of the mods that Fallout 4 and Skyrim got in the last year. I'm not including Creation Club in this comparison, but let's be honest, most of you don't care for paid mods. The harsh reality is that there is just very little interest and engagement in Starfield since it launched. When Starfield first came out, Bethesda started doing regular updates every 6 weeks or so, and it gave us small things such as a usable map. Yes, the game did not even drop with a usable map and a rover, which was nice I suppose, all in an effort to try and get players to return. But Starfield's player count never really recovered in spite of their continued, though small, updates, and that has not gone unnoticed by Bethesda. When Starfield's first expansion was released in 2024, Bethesda read all the negative reviews and also saw that the player count was barely impacted. They started giving what I can only describe as the silent treatment. After Shattered Space dropped, Bethesda stopped making regular updates to the game, and it's supposedly because Bethesda wants to save everything they're working on and release it all in one big update, which isn't a bad idea on its own. Starfield was supposed to get annual expansions, so they were likely going to drop a free update alongside the second DLC in 2025. So, did you guys enjoy Starfield's second expansion? What's that? There is no second DLC? Well, okay. Yup, Bethesda entered 2025 and basically went full Silksong and just went radio silent. Come on, Bethesda, you aren't good enough to get away with that. And again, Starfield's reputation, and I guess Bethesda's reputation on top of it, is already in shambles, so this doesn't exactly inspire confidence. They dropped the occasional tweet or so that basically said, "Hey, we still exist! New content is coming soon, I promise!" And did it come soon?
No.
2025 was kind of symbolic of Starfield itself, in that there was nothing of note. They did give hotfixes from time to time, mostly for Creation Club of all things, but that's not exactly what people had in mind in terms of support. It got even worse when Starfield was absent at both Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Games Showcase, where Starfield would most likely appear because Xbox owns Bethesda. They finally dropped a short teaser on Twitter for Starfield's next DLC, after over half a year of near radio silence on September 2025, and to finally get people excited, I guess. But just like Elder Scrolls 6, they announced it way too early. Not only did they not even follow up their teaser with a trailer later in the year, Starfield didn't even appear at the Game Awards as fans were finally hoping for, after a whole year of basically nothing. To me, this doesn't feel like Bethesda is on the rebound and continues to believe in Starfield's potential. It feels like they're winding down development for Starfield and moving on to Elder Scrolls 6. Reminder that Starfield is supposed to have 10 years of support, and it already looks like Starfield couldn't make it past 1. That's pretty depressing. The only concrete proof we have that Bethesda is still working on Starfield is the name of the second DLC, Terran Armada. There's been leaks and rumors that Starfield is going to have both a PS5 and Switch 2 port, which is nice, I guess. And fans believe a 2.0 update for Starfield is coming, like the one Cyberpunk 2077 got, as apparently there was some Starfield event that Bethesda held that showcased improvements they made to the game, but it doesn't sound like it's as big as Cyberpunk's 2.0 update, which is kind of sad as they pretty much made a big hoopla for what should be normal updates to Starfield. As for the second DLC, I imagine that this is Starfield's make or break moment, if the first one wasn't. The only reason I think Bethesda is even making a second DLC in the first place is some kind of contractual obligation with Microsoft or Xbox. They signed on to make 2 DLCs, and I think this is just them fulfilling an obligation. I personally don't think Shattered Space sold well. There are no official sales numbers, which is never a good sign, since studios love to brag about them when their DLC sells well, and Starfield's player count barely jumped when the DLC dropped. I think the majority of people that even played Shattered Space in the first place were people who were stupid like me, and pre-ordered the deluxe edition which came with the first DLC when Starfield was looking good before launch. Starfield's continued development likely hinges on the second DLC's performance. If it's another badly received DLC that doesn't sell well, then I imagine that either Bethesda will be forced to cut their losses, or Microsoft and Xbox will do it for them. It just doesn't make financial sense to continue investing in making DLC that doesn't sell well for a game that isn't even that popular. As for the ports, if they do happen, then I doubt they'll sell well either. There just isn't any interest in Starfield. Remember that the reason Microsoft even bought Bethesda in the first place is for its two biggest game franchises, Elder Scrolls and Fallout. That's what corporate wants, not Starfield. And as rare as it is, this is where corporate and player interests align. Starfield just isn't the game fans were hoping for, and Starfield isn't looking like an IP that can give very successful sequels or cool merchandising and all that. Unfortunately for Bethesda, I doubt we'll see any more from the Starfield IP after the second DLC. There just isn't much that's particularly noteworthy in the Starfield universe, and the interest isn't there. I doubt we'll see a second game for a very long time, if it ever happens. And considering Bethesda takes 8 to 10 years making their games, I'd prefer Starfield to be out of the equation, and much prefer them to just work on Elder Scrolls and Fallout. It's just a damn shame that Starfield is the game that we're stuck with till Elder Scrolls 6 releases. But I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. If you learned anything, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.